is we stay for the whole Divine Liturgy. Why? Why do we stay for the whole Divine Liturgy? Not a rhetorical question. Somebody answer it. Why do we stay for the whole Divine Liturgy? I hear whispers, so it's either because of announcements or it's because someone has an answer. So we give thanks. Antidoron. Dismissal. That's all that's really left. Contrary to popular belief, the memorials are actually not a part of the liturgy. We might do them every Sunday, but they're actually not a part of the liturgy. We leave them and we have them here out of convenience. Memorials are, truthfully to be told, historically speaking, on Saturday. But because many people come on Sundays and so on, and in some places it's not like Tarpon Springs where people drive hours upon hours to actually go to liturgy, for the people, we've made it so that it comes together on Sunday all together. So, besides the point, we come to give thanks, which is what we're quite literally going to talk about. So after we receive communion, there's still not much. Again, you omit the memorials, and what we're left with are the thanksgiving prayers and the dismissal. That's it. Not much, but we have to give thanks. And you know, there's a wonderfully written thing by Father Samson in here of why we need to give thanks. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I really do. I don't think that that's a very difficult concept for us to understand as Orthodox Christians. Because even, let's remove the faith for a second. If, let's say Christmas time rolls around or it's your birthday and you receive a gift, the proper thing is to write a thank you card or to say thank you in person, right? That makes sense? Now imagine if you, being the giver of that gift, never received that thank you. And you worked very, very hard for that gift, whether you made it yourself as an art and craft, or you may have worked really hard to have the money to be able to give that gift. And imagine the feeling inside of not having that grateful thank you. You have to think, it's a relationship. This isn't just, we come here, we do it, and that's it. The relationship with the church and the relationship with God is a real relationship. It's a marriage. Truthfully speaking, it really is. So we give thanks, and we have these beautiful prayers, and we're not supposed to leave. And even it's kind of funny in the written text of the liturgy, it asks us to give attention again. Why? Because obviously at points in the church or even in larger churches, you know, when there's 500 people, 600 people receiving communion, it can be a lot. People are standing, people are staring, people are whatever, losing focus, which is totally fine and natural because we're humans. But again, it wakes us up. See now, Orthi, get ready. It's time to bring it back. It's time to bring back the focus of the liturgy so that we can give thanks to the Lord. And we have a beautiful prayer in your liturgy books. It is on page 67, which you'll see in the pews, where we give thanks to you, Master, who loves mankind, the benefactor of our souls, that even on this very day you made us worthy of your heavenly and immortal mysteries. Make straight our path, fortify us in your fear, guard our life, make secure our steps to the prayers and supplications of the glorious Theotokos and ever Virgin Mary and of all of your saints. For you are our sanctification, and to you we give the glory, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We say this prayer because after all of the whole liturgy of which we've attended, we're kind of closing up shop. We're essentially getting ready to leave and depart from the church. And that's why the prayer right afterwards, where the priest comes out from the royal gates as a person as well, comes and faces the icon of Christ and says the prayer, O Lord, who blesses those who bless you and sanctify those who put their trust in you. Save your people and your inheritance. Protect the whole body of your church. Sanctify those who love the beauty of your house. Glorify them in return by your divine power. And forsake us not who have set our hope in you. Grant peace to your world, to your churches, to the clergy, to the leaders, the armed forces, and to all of your people. For every perfect gift is from above, coming down from you, the Father of lights, and to you we give glory, thanksgiving, and worship. These prayers are allowing us to leave the church in the right mindset, and we'll talk next week of why it's important not just to stay for the dismissal, but what our job is truly after the Divine Liturgy is done. It is an important time that we must stay for. For the lack of better ways to say it, we have essentially trained Orthodox Christians from the youth, saying, okay, if your child gets restless in the church, and I thank Father Athanasius for making the statements of what he said, but as just how we don't throw people into fasting, and just how we don't throw people into prayer lives, and we let them ease themselves through these spiritual disciplines, likewise we do with the liturgy. We try and we challenge the parents of young ones to obviously stay throughout the whole liturgy, but the reality is, after 40 days and a couple of months, children get restless. So we say, ease them in, come for a little bit, and then expand, add 10 minutes, and add 10 minutes, and add 10 minutes. And then eventually you're here for the whole liturgy. You've essentially built up that discipline to be able to stay for the whole liturgy. Somewhere in history, before probably all of our times, maybe not all of ours, but some of our times, they essentially forgot to keep adding the 10 minutes. And they come in 40 minutes late, and then they leave 10 minutes early. It doesn't work like that. If we truly believe from the beginning, blessed is the kingdom, and we are in that kingdom that we don't want to be late for, and we receive the gift, the body and blood of Christ, and then we just get up and go, what does that actually teach the person who's there for that how much time? It does teach them the importance of communion, in a sense of having to receive it, but the actual preparation gets lost. The real meaning, the real definition, the real desire that we strive for gets lost. And it's our challenge as Orthodox Christians, people who are essentially struggling in their lives, and in the Orthodox Church embracing that struggle, to be able to continue to face those distractions of our lives, to be able to learn and to empower, and almost, for lack of better terms, take a sense of ownership of our faith, where it's not just about coming to church for 15, 20 minutes and then going home. It's not how this works. And it shouldn't be how it works at the same time. We're here preparing ourselves to be able to receive that perfect gift, the gift that we have always wanted. And if it is not that gift you always want, we have some real exploration to do. We have some real thinking and self-evaluation. If we don't want to be in communion with God for the rest of our lives on this earth and afterwards when we pass away, because here's a reality, I hate to say it, and sometimes it's sooner for some and later for others, we will all pass away. If we don't want to be in full communion with Christ for the rest of our lives, we have to really evaluate where we are in our relationship and in our spiritual lives. So it's not just about that 10 minutes. Yes, it's the most glorious 10 minutes of our week, but it's more than that. It starts at the beginning, it ends with a dismissal, and sets the tone, let's say, for the rest of the week to be able to deal with all of the other things we have to in our life. Completely different mentality than showing up 40 minutes late and leaving 20 minutes early. And if we really believe what we believe, like I've said, it makes all of the difference in that mindset. And that's where it allows for us to truly understand the beauty of our tradition and the beauty of our faith. Any questions on why we stay for the Thanksgiving aspect of our church, of our liturgy? Or any questions in general? We have a little bit of time. Any takers? Stump the priest? Whatever you want to call it. We have one, yes. You're all the way back there, so you're going to have to meet me halfway. Kinda, ish, whatever you can. The right there in the middle? So, that's a good question. I've been standing on it this whole time, so the circle. Some point in time in our history here at St. Nicholas, they've said, don't step on the circle, which is partially true and also partially not true. Partially true because there are crosses on it. We aren't technically supposed to be putting crosses on the ground, but hey, this happened way before all of us. All right? So there's crosses on the ground. That's why we say to avoid it, because there's crosses here and we don't want to necessarily be stepping on the cross. The reality is, if you look down, there's only 7 crosses that I can see, at least. I could be wrong, but that's a trivia question for later. So if you can somehow maneuver into a straight line just like how I did, you may step on it. If for whatever reason you can't see from your face to the ground and you don't want to take the chance, go ahead. You may step around it. The beauty of our church is those pews that you're sitting in aren't really supposed to exist. If you go to churches around the world, guess what? There aren't pews. That is a wonderful part of a tradition that we have brought in to assimilate to the rest of the churches. So we're actually quite literally supposed to walk around and look at the icons and do all those things. But when we hear orthi, or when we hear be attentive, we be attentive. So yeah, if you can be aware of your surroundings, go for it. But if you want to just stay clear, that's okay. Respectfully, just walk around the circle. That's why, like, let's say if you ever come here for a sacrament, we actually put whatever is happening, the sacrament table or something, in the middle. And I've gotten pretty good about dodging the crosses because I think I know where they are. But again, there's 7 of them. But we put it here because, for example, during a wedding, we go around the circle. And the baptism, the font is in the circle. You get what I'm saying? We try to, let's say, avoid it, at the same time respecting the fact that crosses are on the ground. But if you can be aware of your surroundings, do whatever you feel like. You have the free will. Just don't step on the crosses. That's all we ask. What else? Anything else? We have one all the way in the back. You're going to have to meet me halfway or speak loud.
Well, we understand that we pray for forgiveness. We don't have to keep praying the same sin. I work in the church. We do the crosses continuously. I guess, are we continuously asking for forgiveness with each cross, or is there more remaining or less remaining tradition?
That's actually a wonderful question. So we, within the liturgy and even throughout our lives, we catch ourselves doing our cross a lot. Putting our fingers together and doing our cross. Within the liturgy, we usually say it whenever we invoke the words of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Okay, within the liturgy. Fun fact, when the priest is blessing or sensing, he's actually giving you that blessing. So when you do your cross, you're blessing yourself when the priest is blessing you, which means one of 2 things. My blessing's not good enough, which I don't think that, don't take it wrong. Or we would just don't necessarily know. If the priest is blessing, when I say Edini Pasi, peace be unto you all, and I bless with my hand, it's not just Father Samson blessing, it's Christ blessing you all. So at that point, we're actually not supposed to do our cross. But sometimes people will still do it, and it's fine. You're not hurting yourself. It's an extra blessing. God bless you. God bless me. God bless everybody. We're all here asking for blessings, right? But if you, let's say, the proper etiquette of when to do your cross, as a part of our prayer life, people, again, whenever we invoke the name of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, we'll do our cross, right? Because we have those 4 locations. We hear that in like kindergarten, Sunday school, Father, Son. We're teaching Sophia or Christopher, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. You know, like they're young ones, we teach them that way. So that's that main aspect of why we do that. But sometimes people will incorporate that into their prayer life, whether it's part of, you know, they're saying the Jesus prayer with their Kombuskini, or if it's before a meal, they'll do their cross, and that will be their blessing for before receiving food and afterwards. There's different elements within the prayer life of where that comes into play. But within the liturgy, mostly it's when we invoke the name of the Trinity. And then, of course, whenever, let's say, we might be saying a prayer ourselves within that liturgy as we follow along. Because most of the prayers that even the priests say, that the last exclamation, the ekphonisis, is usually, mostly, probably I think like 90% of the time, invoking that name of the Trinity. So that's why you'll see it constantly happening. It also keeps us active and focused. So there's a real purpose to it, let's say, not just, you know, to do the motions, but to keep us focused and keep us going within our, let's say, kinesthetics, science, and whatnot. Wonderful questions.